Flagged. Brought to you by us, fans like you, but mostly us.
Deanna, I have counted the days since I last saw you. Like waves in the ocean, constant and unending. I have thought of your empathic gifts often during my self-evaluation.
Well, that's wonderful.
Inappropriate.
The work that I've done on myself, the level of sensitivity that I have achieved, has been in more ways than one.
Is this a rescue mission or a continuation of the torture?
In a dark corner of the world, three men will work together to bring you a podcast like no other. This is Fanatically Correct, where the fans, the geeks, and the nerds are always correct. With your host, MSK, Yo Peace, and Omega.
What's better? What's the best theme song? Has to be Enterprise.
Most catchy, yes.
The next generation,
catchy,
yeah.
I don't remember.
Most catchy,
for some reason, when I think Enterprise, I think of Smallville. Somebody say, because it's more or less the same type of song.
No, the best one is the one from
The original.
No,
that's
No
like
way.
the third best.
That sounds like,
I don't
yeah.
know the. I don't
That
know
always
the,
reminds me of Doctor Who.
I don't know the Deep Space Nine one.
Which
Yeah.
one first? Chicken or the egg?
The Deep Space Nine one, I don't remember.
Well, let's do it now. We're here. Why?
There you go.
Listen,
Pull it up.
why are we wasting time?
That's
Let's
what
just
phones
pull
are
it
for.
up.
That's what Google and YouTube are for.
Pull it up. Let's listen to it, and we'll decide right now. Right now, at this moment, we're gonna decide live.
Live. This is a live.
This is a live
These are
episode
We should do it
that
live.
nobody else is watching.
Oh,
No one's gonna watch this. We're gonna watch this.
I'm not even gonna watch this.
Barely. Barely. All right. So who are we again?
Omega here.
MSK.
Yo, peace.
This is Star Trekkie correct.
Yeah, it's about to get
Trekkie,
real
nerdy. So, how about that Mandalorian?
real nerdy. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't caught up at all.
I
Give it a
have
good week
not.
buffer after Picard, man. Not
Yeah.
because it's
have
fire as long as you watched it before Picard, but after Picard, you gotta give yourself a
No,
buffer.
I'll watch it way later. I'll watch it. I caught up on. I saw 2 seasons in a week of Picard. So,
Yeah, that was crazy.
So I'm. And one of them didn't really need to be watched, to be honest. But
Yeah, stop it. Stop it. You stop it now.
in comparison, it was still good.
Right.
It was
I
so
mean, in
good.
comparison,
But in
anything.
comparison,
In comparison, anything.
So, what's the best theme song?
Are we doing this right now?
I'm just curious.
the Next Generation, bro.
That's the Next Generation.
for sure.
The only one I can- The Next Generation
That's the
original
one I
series are the
can
only ones I can remember. And
Well,
Next
that's the
Gen.
one that was around when we were watching.
Yeah, I remember Voyager
Sure.
was all right. Well, they all just mimicked the Next Gen.
Voyager was good.
Yeah, but Voyager, DS9, they all
The
just...
Picard, I don't remember the song, but the intro for every season, it was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
Because it had to
that's
deal
true.
with the season.
Yeah.
So,
I know Discovery had a pretty good one. I haven't seen Strange New Worlds.
No, definitely Generation probably has the most memorable and
Most
catchiest
earworm.
theme
Yeah, most earworm.
for Star Trek. And
Yep.
again, we're going to have a battle because I honestly feel, and I may be wrong on this one, but I feel that most of our listeners
viewers.
and viewers may be more Star Wars than Star Trek.
Well, if you count, if most of our listeners and viewers are on the video right now, then yeah, probably. Probably, yeah. Let's say overall, yeah, for sure.
And I hate bringing that up because that's always the battle, right? Like people always want a battle of the whole Star Wars and Star Trek. And oh my goodness, are you doing this right now? Are you literally doing? Are we actually?
First of all, this might not air in time for you to even mean anything.
I mean,
but
are you seriously doing that right now?
If you're watching this now, Fighter Fest was fire.
that was her.
It was so
cheapest.
It was
This is what happens when one of your co-hosts becomes a promoter.
Yes,
this is what happens.
You should feel really cheap about yourself, like like a cheap person.
Mid conversation.
I'm totally fine with it.
That was terrible.
Yopis was trying to make a point, and then he just does
and he didn't care. He was like, "Hey, look at this, guys! Look at this."
Hey, come to my thing.
I only started the Red Bull when I get halfway through.
Well, we're being sponsored by Red Bull.
No, not
what
at
is
all.
happening
Sorry,
right now?
I haven't finished this non-known energy drink caffeine thing.
Orange Bull.
Okay, so this is what's gonna happen. We're gonna end up getting sued by Red Bull when the episode airs.
We're gonna get sued by a lot of people by the time this airs.
Star Trek is gonna come after us. Star Wars is gonna come after us. I mean,
we're gonna get canceled.
We're getting canceled already.
So the point you were making, Yo Piece, that we might have fans of yours. Well, you think most of our pretend fans and viewers are Star Wars fans?
I think the pretend fans that we have, the ones that we think that we have, are imaginary. The ones that I think we do have that may listen, I think they're more. I think they lean more towards Star Wars than they lean towards Star Trek. And I could be 100% like wrong about this, but I honestly feel that they would not listen to this.
You know, there might have been too much.
Like you offended him. You offended him.
No. I'm not
offending.
No, I'm just saying realistically, there might have been too much of a gap between like JJ's reboot of Star Trek and bringing back capturing a new audience for Star Trek. I didn't turn the AC off. Pointless. I'll get back to that in a second. But I think that time gap where Star Wars was cashing in on the prequels, episodes 1 through 3.
Yeah,
that was the gap that was missed. So you're probably right, because the majority of Star Trek fans now are either old school, which are the ones that didn't like the JJ reboot and things like that, or our generation, which are all hooked on Next Gen, DS9, Voyager, that immediate follow up.
And a lot of those guys don't like the JJ reboot either, to be honest.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
no, it's true. I mean, I loved it, but it is true. So I think that gap and that change in direction, and then the Next Gen movies basically went the same route as the original in the sense that not all of them were bangers. You know what I mean? 2 and 4, 1 and 3 are
Yeah.
So
2 and 4.
2 and 4. Yeah, and that's the bad thing. One Generations, their first one out the gate was on the weak side, and they tried to throw. They had Kirk in it, and they had McCoy in it, and then they tried to tie that in with Guinan, so they tried to tie it too much to the original series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
In fairness, a lot of I was in middle school at the time, and a lot of the other kids that watched Next Generation, they weren't into the original series, so they really didn't, care for that. Like they respected the tie-ins and cameos on the series. When they had Scotty on, when they had Bones on, Spock, they had a few times. When they did that, they appreciated that, but they weren't running back to go watch the original series.
The original series. Yeah, and I'm sure it was hard to find back then, too. It's also the app, man. Like, I feel like Star Wars is more accessible than
Disney
on Disney than Paramount Plus. Not a lot of people even know about Paramount Plus, so that's also the thing, too.
I'm hoping that with Picard and everything else as they're getting aligned, that we do get a new new fans, and it gets popular enough to where you don't have to pick and choose. Like it's good enough, because Picard, and that's what we're going to talk about today, Picard has shown you that it could be done. Good writing, good. The graphics were like out of hand for a TV show, and story-wise, it could be done to a point that you could gain a new generation of fans to continue the Star Trek sagas.
As we dive deep into specific to Picard, because it looks like that's what this episode's going to go, is all Picard, and with little notes here and there of of the franchise overall.
Oh, okay, I thought you were going to bring out Mando, but no, we're not talking about Mando at all.
But that being said, I mean, and that's what we'll get into, because what you're saying is, and we'll get into spoilers, a spoiler alert. So I'm just going to make a point that they have a great left off point before we start spoiling, in moving forward to easily a spin-off or 2 or 3 for that matter, of newer characters, not just the original characters, of actually newer characters that will resonate with the current generation and a younger demographic. And then that being said, I guess let's just give an overall one last time, non-spoiler review each of why Picard specifically, seasons 1 through 3, especially season 3, are bangers, and then that's it. You know, if you don't want to hear all the spoilers, tune out.
And yes, and they're bangers. And season 1 was great. Season 2 was different, but it was still good.
You thought it was better. We did.
I honestly enjoyed the crap out of season 2, just because the ending of that season was really good for me. I think it was either you, Omega, or you, MSK. One of you guys were saying that I think the last 3 episodes of that season could have been his own whole season, and it would have been like it could have been really good as like a standalone type of thing. Without spoiling anything. But I think the last 3 episodes were like blown away from me. That's what made it for me mainly. It was just the last 3 episodes.
For me, and that's what you're saying, MSK, my note was, which MSK agreed with, we were on the same page with it, was that, you know, for us, season 1 was the better season.
Yeah, overall.
But season 2 had better moments.
Yes.
And a much better finale.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
But when you go into season 3, it really felt like season 1 and moments from season 2 were just the buffer to the one season that could have just been 3.
You know what they could have done was keep season 1 and all the backstory of Picard, which were great in season 2, put that somewhere in season 1, and then have season 3, and that's it. You're good.
Yeah, you're right.
Because you kind of have to watch season 1 for season 3 to, you know, certain things to make sense.
Yeah, and you have to watch season 2 because certain things have to make sense as well.
Well, for his backstory, for sure.
For his backstory.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was...
Well, before diving into spoilers, just a quick, I would just say that, which is that if you're a Star Trek fan, especially a Next Generation fan, and you haven't watched Picard yet, get on it. Picard is for you. I know a lot of Next Generation fans specifically haven't enjoyed Discovery at all. Not even season 1. And for me, I haven't seen any additional seasons, but season 1 is killer of Discovery for me. But again, I like the JJ reboot. I pretty much like a lot of things Star Trek has done. There's not much that I don't care for. Even Enterprise, once they get into that dark, what's it called, the Expanse thing or whatever, that show even took off. But overall, if you're a Star Trek Next Generation fan, Picard is 100% for you, especially now that you can binge seasons 1 through 3. You get your instant gratification, move through it quickly, and get to season 3 where it's just fire every episode and it just gets better and better each episode in story, in action, in dialogue, in cameos
credits.
And pop-ups.
The ending credits are beautiful, man. Like, I'm watching it and it's just like...
And a post-credit for the whole series finale is insane. They did the Marvel. Yeah. So that being said...
But only for one episode, so thank God.
Yeah, hands down. But even if you're not a Star Trek fan and you want to try to get into it, it's a little rough to jump into Picard because you won't appreciate all the backstory. Yeah. But the pacing of that season, especially 3, the storytelling, the dialogue, it is, you can yada yada and still enjoy it for what it is.
The moments? The moments.
No, the moments is what you actually miss. I mean, but there was
a lot of them, man.
Star Wars, Star battle moments, of conflicts between ships and things like that just have insane turnout.
Yeah. All right, so we're going deep dive yet, or we're just...
Yep. So a quick word from our sponsor, Yo Piece, on where to find us and all that while I go kill the AC this week.
I like it. So you can look at that.
So you can find us.
You can find us. Oh no! Oh no! I hope that gets edited out. You can find us on Linktree /FanCorrect. That's linktr.ee/FanCorrect, and you have everything, all the information there. Pretty much all the podcasts websites that you can find us. You can also go to our email us, FanCorrect, contact FanCor@gmail.com, or you can give us a phone ring. You can call us at 786-704-8404. Honestly, that line has been dead. I feel like Google might just cancel that line.
We still have that line?
We still have that line.
We might want to call it every once in a while.
Yeah. Don't worry. I take care of that. I call myself all the time.
Good job.
I call myself all the time.
Voicemail on it.
Good job.
But
and leave us a review, right? Isn't that like an important thing for podcasts?
Please review, share, like.
You know, I used to smash
down there.
That like button.
Yeah, you know, I used to think that, but at this point, honestly, I don't care. Like, just it really doesn't matter. Honestly, like I feel like most of those things are fake, anyways. Like when you're giving people 5 stars for like, come on, really, like 5 stars. 5 stars.
I can only make so many fake email accounts.
Yeah. Listen, don't give us 5 stars. Honestly, if you want to review us like whatever you feel. I really don't care.
Yeah.
Like if you feel like,
if
you feel like, hey, this is nice. I wish I can give it a 0 stars. Perfect. That's exactly what we want to hear. So, but that's it. That's where you can find us. Also, when you left, man, your video was
we'll handle that. We'll handle that.
Yeah, I guess we'll handle that.
It. Who knows?
What do you mean?
We'll see how much.
Yeah, it was.
We'll see how much this happens. How much of this will happen.
Super green.
It was
super green.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Great. It was great time.
Did someone teleport in? Did the Borg teleport in?
Yes. Let's just say that the Borg, the green Borg, was definitely here.
Oh man! All right, so spoilers. We're doing spoilers.
Hands down spoilers. So. Favorite moments? Are we just gonna skip seasons 1 and 2 and just dive?
No, we'll go over season. All right, so season 1. Yeah, let's just skip those seasons. Season 3 was so good, man. Season 3 was so good.
The thing is, you can't have season 3 without, which ended up being a huge part of the story, especially towards the end. There is the whole scenario with Picard no longer has a human body,
right?
Yes,
aging, deteriorating android. Lifelike android now, which is also the setup.
Android necessarily. He's
a bio life.
He still gets old, and he's still
getting old. Yeah,
it's
I forgot what was the term. Synthetic.
Synthesized life form, which is the total setup. Now we can bounce around. Is the total setup for Data's return?
Yeah. Right.
Full return.
Right. Full.
In season 3.
And by full, we mean full return.
Full return. A life and a human, and we'll get into all the buddy cop stuff, all the buddy humor that we have with Data now.
It's a lot of emotions Data was going through.
That as well.
And we can talk about what bad therapy it looks like, apparently, because that's terrible therapy.
But so season 1, we have to have that story. It's just unfortunate because like all the Data stuff, with the exception of that leading up to this, like with his daughter and all that, kind of it in about way connects to like Dr. Crusher, because her son Wesley Crusher and that daughter becomes a thing, but it really didn't provide anything more than for the most part just the backstory of Picard no longer being in his body because his body was being held.
Well, it also sets up him being with the new cast really much.
We did have to form a bond with 7 of 9. We did have to form a bond with Raffi, as well as kind of making the Borg again a centralized part of Next Generation, which they it was like DS9 once they had a Dominion. Once Next Gen got the Borg, it's like everything's good.
I mean,
it's easy. It's an easy villain. Yeah,
it's great to go back to that.
And they've been able to be very dynamic with it and actually change things with the Borg and their presence and their backstory, and by having factions and all the different things that they've done.
And you know what? All the Borg stuff in season 1 was great. I mean, I thought it was. You know what I like about season 1 is I felt like there was a lot more people. Like there was a world. You get me? He went to Starfleet. He was actually at a location.
Right.
And, he was at the vineyard. Like there was different. Season 3 was great, but it's all space. Like straight up.
Space. Season 3 was straight up Next Generation again. Yeah. It was them on their ship resolving, crew resolving an issue that they weren't there to be a part of. Where yes, you're correct, is that all of them living on the Borg cube with the Romulans and all that.
Yeah, that was
season 1 was huge, but again, that was to promote 7 of 9, and that's the beauty of it. Picard is Picard, but you see the writing on the wall, and you see the progression and where they're going. Yeah, by the way they develop 7 of 9, the way they develop Raffi, and in season 3, the way they develop Jack. Crusher, Picard's son. So really each season it's telling Picard's story, closing it off in a much better way than the Next Generation series did, and even the movies did. Man, they did old so much better than the original cast, the original series did. But
of what, closing it up?
Of being coming back in their elderly years.
Oh, of you mean
relevant.
Shatner? Yeah.
But aside from that,
they actually like each other. That's a big thing.
That's big.
That's huge.
That's
huge. That chemistry is
undoubted.
You can't
Shatner and these guys.
You can't remake that on film if you hate that person.
No.
Like there's no bringing that back.
Yeah, because then it's real acting, and sometimes chemistry works and makes the acting.
Yeah. And remember, these guys do a lot of. They've been doing cons together for years.
Oh yeah, no, they have a great. You could tell the Next Generation
have a great relationship. Yeah.
But so that being said, they also spent the time throughout the 3 seasons developing the characters in the spin-offs we want. I already know the petition is hitting huge numbers. Not that they're going to need it. Paramount's going to make the decisions.
Of course.
Yeah.
But that being said, they developed these characters. We were invested in them. We want more, with the hopes of little cameos here and there in those seasons. But it doesn't have to be about the original cast.
It's not going to be, no.
Now, I do want to add, me personally, I can tell you that season 1, as great as it was, let me down a lot. And I'm going to tell you why. The way they wrote season 1 kind of felt like it was that whole Soji thing with the sisters and all that. And I know it was a setup for the rest of what was coming. But I feel that they put too much eggs onto that character itself.
I thought it was going to be bigger.
I thought it was going to be bigger for that character. And it was a really letdown. Because you can see it in the transition when they went into season 2. You can see the hey, it really doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, she doesn't. She was stuffing.
And it was cut. It was cut off to a point that I was like, damn, like you also had you wrote something in that could have been bigger, and you just kind of like just let it be whatever. And I get it because it was a setup for telling the Picard, what Picard pretty much also is going to become.
Yeah.
But I feel that it was bigger than what it was just bigger than what
especially
it became.
The first half, because it felt like the sister, Sochi was the last sister,
the
right?
last one. She was the one that survived.
I forgot what the other, but it was like, I thought that was going to be a major thing, like that relationship was going to be bigger, but they killed her off like episode 2 or 3.
Well, and I will tell you, but that was clever because it wasn't Next Generation. That's the thing. Season 2 got a little more Next Generation-y with their storytelling. Season 1, a lot of it, most of it, did not feel like a Next Generation
until the
series.
very end. At the very end, very
so they got to the very end.
Yeah.
But the beginning, the very big opening was, and that's why I like Discovery, just like I like the J.J. Abrams, reboot. It was like, okay, Star Trek again. Now, even with these characters, they're going all in on the Abrams style, the Abrams verse, if you will.
Right.
On this, and especially that, was it the first or second episode when she gets vaporized right in front of him? The second episode, and I was like, wow, okay,
it was quick.
They're really going for it. We have a main character they just in 2 episodes vested in, like you said, expecting her to go further. But the way the arc was, and that's the other thing, nonstop season arc, that was something we had to get used to.
Yeah.
In season 1, because that wasn't a Next Gen thing. Next Generation, you had 2 episodes, sometimes 3 episode arc.
And that's
but
pushing
after that,
that was pushing it.
Episodic. So once they did that, they got us used to that formula. So it really felt that, okay, this is new Star Trek, and I was okay with it. I was thinking in my head, a lot of people are going to get turned off. Like I was thinking in my head, I know a lot of classic fans that want to keep it the way, that want it to be the original style and everything that they like, the true stick to the nostalgia scenario, we're probably going to be upset. But they went full circle and ended it, in season 3.
Yeah.
Full on Next Generation.
Yeah.
It was the best Next Generation you could ever get, is what it is. And
it was perfect.
What you hope for.
And also being its own thing, too, because they set up future characters. They set up
future
characters that we're not going to see anymore, but we're going to miss.
Total launch pad. Total launch pad for everything to come. And, that's the biggest moment. So, season 1, and no matter what, you needed all 3 seasons. Is that season 3 is so damn good, you can feel like I don't even need the other 2 seasons.
Yeah. In fact, season 3 is so good, you want to watch the original the next generation.
Yeah, like you
and
said,
go,
the way they
last
ended
season.
things.
Yeah.
Which you probably
See, but
did.
that's what season 1 and 2 had, were those moments like Picard when he's saying, "I was alone dying in that vineyard." You know, and that's a hint at what you're talking about, which is the ending
all
of the
good
episode
things.
integration.
Yeah.
But it's also hinting at the way season 1 started. That is where he's at. He's on the road to end up in that future that we saw in that Q finale.
Well, the finale for the next generation. I keep wanting to say the Dark Knight. I don't know why. Yeah. The next generation, the ending. Q's showing him a future that could be. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's this one. I don't know when last time you guys saw that ending, but there's one scene where at the very end, it's all done and they fixed the timelines. Everything's cool. Picard's like, "What aren't you telling me?" And Q whispers, like, kind of almost whispers to his ear. He's like, "That's for the future," or something to that effect. And just that scene alone kind of hints that there's something more that could happen in the future, and it works perfectly for
his son,
Picard. Yeah.
This is the thing he told
the
him.
way he played it. It's like there's something going on with you specifically. That's going to happen to you, but you'll get to it when you get to it. Like,
and it all connects awesome. Because it's Q from the beginning. Q,
that's such a great character
that introduced him to the board.
That is such a great character.
It is. He's awesome.
Q was in that first episode. Like, he's awesome.
No matter what, you watch it, and for the people that have never seen it, if you listen to this without seeing it, good luck.
I don't know why you're doing
trying to understand it, but like, Q is such a great character, and it's so well written. It's always been so well written.
Yeah.
I hate that character. But at the same time, you love that character. You love that character,
and that's what was like a big saving grace for the second season.
Yeah,
because I kind of want more. I wish he was more in the season.
Yeah,
but
it's all
him
Q.
at the ending is awesome.
It's a total Q Picard connection.
Yeah,
and pretty much at this point now it's the whole series of Next Generation to this point from beginning to end, because of what I was just saying earlier was he's the one who introduced them to the Borg.
Yeah,
and the Borg, it is such a going into season 3 especially, it's such a huge connection to Picard's basically entire career after becoming captain of the Enterprise, because when he's Locutus aboard, they do something to him and it affects his actual biology, his actual DNA. And then what they thought and they had, misdiagnosed as the syndrome, it was a similar side effect. And really what it was the whole time was he was now changed by the Borg in a biological way that they didn't even need the nanotechnology and all that they normally use to create from the inside out. It was actually a biological form of it.
Which was genius.
Before, once when they did it with Voyager, that there was things like that when they attacked the Borg using, same thing, their virus, as well as that other alien life form in the other dimension or whatever that were biological Borg.
Yeah.
So that leading into that is like, again, it's just this full connection of Picard, Borg, and Q. Picard, Borg, and Q, and it being necessary for it to all exist. Yeah. And then it leads into Jack. And, and that's, we'll get into that in a little bit, the post-credit scene, because the first time we've had a Star Trek post-credit scene. And it was genius.
I mean, it's genius how everything leading up to Picard's history, he even said it, he's like half his life he's been running away from the Borg, right? Plus the whole aromatic syndrome was a huge thing for his character, and the way they merged those two things that were very important to his character, and it made sense. Like, they didn't just rewrite, they didn't retcon it. They didn't do the Star Wars thing. They didn't retcon it. It actually makes perfect sense, everything.
It all fits into place.
Yeah, you could tell the showrunners or the writers and everyone, they're fans of the, they have to be fans.
Yeah, they're deep fans of what they did and what they know because they knew where to do. And you see it, there's so many little Easter eggs and hints throughout. I mean, go on YouTube and you'll see there's much deeper fans than us.
I'm sure
take the time to pick apart. But I always say that because, like, my favorite episode pretty much ever of Star Trek, and is the 4 lights, 5 lights. And they had noticed this is a little Easter egg they've done, and I didn't notice it at first. But in the first time that they met the Borg, Riker shoots out that, like, a power hub from above, and it has 4 lights around it. And it's when he does it this time, which is that's the first time and probably the last time for a long time they showed those hubs. They show it again with Riker, so they go full circle, and this time those hubs have 5 lights.
That's funny.
Hit him
So
with
it's like,
everything.
You know, that's a deep fan. That you know what I mean.
someone
That
did,
It's like, hey, make these on this Borg vessel. Make it 5 levels.
That's awesome.
Smart.
That's amazing.
Which brings it back to Picard. You know, because he's Locutus, and that's actually a nod, you know, towards Picard because he's the one from that episode.
Yeah.
With the Romulans. But no, it's just a genius, and I love that even though they could have, if they wanted to, play with the fact that Picard's in a newer body and maybe did something, and they didn't. They didn't make.
No, they didn't
Picard
make it a big deal.
Ever had the
it.
abilities that Jack had, you know, and that's what was cool about it. It was something that happened because now Jack was born with it, so it's actually infused with his full
DNA,
you know, being in DNA. Where Picard, it was something that was invading him
Given.
and attacking him.
What do you mean?
That made him sick because of it as well.
The power of reading people, controlling people or whatever.
Yeah, and telepathy and
cool.
all that.
Yeah, well, that's
Which
because
I
of the
believe is
transporter, though. That's
third
because of
film now.
they implemented that in the transporter, which is also genius.
Yeah. No, all of that, the stuff with the transporter genius, because now we could definitely have an O'Brien series because now he's important. He's healing.
Yeah, I don't know why O'Brien wasn't. He should have been in that shit, man. He should have been on that ship. But
No,
I don't know. What's your favorite
they're
cameo, man?
saving
There's
that
so
for
many
Cisco.
cameos.
They're saving that for Cisco. Then they'll have O'Brien and Bashir. And,
Yeah, no, they're gonna. That's how Picard ends. Cisco's just gonna kill him. Cisco's gonna just go off and kill him.
I love that, and that was something I talked about a little bit on IG, but that's something I definitely want to bring up here. Was what I love that whole scenario with Shaw, right?
Yeah.
Shaw, Captain Shaw. Dude, oh man, 12
So
Monkeys.
good.
That
You
guy,
gotta watch 12
that
Monkeys.
guy. Let me
Him
tell
and
you,
the
in 12
Vulcan.
Monkeys?
He's
The
in 12
criminal
Monkeys.
Vulcan, also in 12 Monkeys.
let me tell you, 12 Monkeys. The Vulcan.
The Vulcans from 12 Monkeys also. Like,
Yes,
there's a lot of 12 Monkeys in this.
And there was somebody else. Oh, there was the guy that Raffi went to. Was he a Vulcan? Was he the Vulcan?
that guy.
the criminal Vulcan. Yeah,
that's the Vulcan. Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's an Arrow.
Dude, let me
he was
tell
in
you.
Oz when
Limitless,
he was young. That guy does not age.
That's what it. Yes,
He's the one who doesn't age, man.
that guy
actor
looks
does
the
not
same.
age.
That guy
That
looks
guy's
the
been
same.
on everything. That guy's been on a lot of stuff.
Brother, you don't understand how happy I was to
All
see
12 Monkeys in
both
this?
of those characters in this show because I love 12 Monkeys. Like I really enjoyed
tell
the
you,
way
man,
they
I really-
the series.
I would've
the
been
series.
fine.
No, in the movie too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he's not in the movie. But no, the movie's great.
No,
But,
the series.
but I would have been fine actually if we would have gotten a season of whatever new
Which
series
is
you're
him.
doing, where
Which is
Shaw's
him.
the captain
Yeah.
and Seven's the
100%.
first officer. Like that could have been a series.
I
no
would love
problem.
to see that back and forth and her
That dynamic was awesome.
everything.
Yeah, that was
Everything
one of the
going
things
against
that was a mistake,
everything.
man. Yeah, they shouldn't have killed him. That's one of those things I was like, I wish they
See,
didn't
but
kill
now
him
here's the
because his
thing.
character was perfect.
Here's the thing that's genius. What they did, where they went, they're attaching and giving young Jack Picard, who's basically Picard in a Kirk sandwich.
It's Kirk. Yeah.
It's Kirk. He's Kirk. It's so
Kirk.
awesome. It's Kirk with a Picard name. I love it. That's what Jack
Not
is.
even with a Picard name, with a Crusher name.
Yeah, no. Remember, he changed his name to he's Crusher Picard now. That's what he said. There has to be a Picard.
How about we just name him
Picard?
Kirkard?
Kirkard.
He's Kirkard.
Jean-Luc Kirk.
Picard. Jean-Luc Picard.
Damn it, James. Those,
So much like it's crazy how much
I
he was
talk
like.
like this.
those moments that his father had as being previously Locutus, and that scene with Shaw on the holodeck. I mean, strongly represented. Took us back to you're talking about the Cisco.
Yeah.
It takes us back to that Cisco moment in Deep Space Nine, and that whole situation of he's not Locutus. You know, he's just unfortunately the vessel that was used to do that.
Yeah.
Jack is not so much off the hook the way Locutus was because he voluntarily went.
He's gonna have it worse because he went looking for the Borg. Yeah.
But now, how much of that information has been shared with the public? They could easily be like, "Well, he was kidnapped by the
I don't know,
Borg or
man.
whatever."
People in that Titan are gonna be pissed.
Some people in that Titan know too much about
Wait, you did
that scenario.
what?
Yeah.
You went
And
where?
he's responsible for a lot more death.
Yeah.
Locutus was.
Let me
It's
tell you.
wild. And I tell you, I was talking to Yo Piece when he first finished his MSK was catching up at that time. When he first finished the episode before the finale, that I realized it because they had announced like a week before the new series.
About the new series.
Well, the next series that's going to be up to
the Academy.
Starfleet Academy. And then, of course, the way that they use like that letter that's going out to the public as like a promo at the same time, stating that due to circumstances, We have lowered the age to Starfleet to the age of 16, whatever. And I just read it as some type of excuse to make like Star Trek Harry Potter. Like, I don't know about this. But after that episode,
it makes sense.
I didn't even realize it while watching the episode. It was afterwards talking about it with Yopis. I was like, dude, I go, and pretty much almost everyone over the age of 25 that was on a starship has been. I'm like, oh, that's it. And then it hit me. I'm like, Starfleet Academy. Like, everyone under 25 just got bumped in rank.
Yeah.
There's old people, and which means the really old people, all the admirals and retired,
the majority of them,
they need them to come to Starfleet now and start training.
That shit went down.
Yeah. Crazy. So that means like anyone like 18, 19 that was just about to leave Starfleet, boom, you're an ensign, you're a lieutenant, you're a chief engineer, like you're all in. It's like,
you're the cook.
Boom. And so like now everyone's like, all right, start dipping into the high school for geniuses. We need Starfleet.
The cook.
Why is there a cook? Replicators. That's so funny.
But he was just cleaning bathrooms.
There's replicators. You're right.
Bro, that was funny.
Dude,
that scene was funny because he was like, I'm just a cook.
I'm just a microwaver. I'm a microwaver.
I mean, I did some training, but I had to go.
Because at least was it Neelix on Voyager? Like the replicators were busted or whatever, and they couldn't fix them.
Funny.
So like Neelix was cooking, like actually had to cook on the ship.
Listen, that's funny because that dude was scared. He was like, "Hey guys, I don't know, but I don't know if you guys know, but I need to tell you right now.
You're a pilot now. I only had one flight. That was good enough. Only to start.
That's it.
Only to start. Like, that's good enough. Now pilot. Now you're the best one in the fleet.
Yeah. You know who also the character that I love was that Hispanic dude.
From seasons 1 and 2.
For season 1 and 2.
Yeah, he was a captain in season 2. Yeah.
He was
a great character.
Rios, I think that was his name.
Captain Rios. Yeah. He was
a
awesome.
Great character. Also a great character.
I like that character because he plays so many different roles with his
he did like an Irish accent.
Yes.
Like,
dude, he was actually
the
holograms were really good.
Dude,
bro, for 2 seconds, I was like, that's him, right?
Dude, he was actually really good. Like, I have to give a shout out to that actor. Good. I gotta look his name up, but he's really good.
Yeah, he was really good. I said that too. I go, you're gonna love the Hispanic
he was awesome.
character they're bringing into
and that cast they brought in the first season was really good, and
Robin
close
and
it
Kid
out was good.
Fantastic, man. The samurai, which that's not a thing that's really been big at all in Star Trek, other to an extent with the Klingons. And I was like, you know what? You had a very little bit of it in season 2. Yeah, a lot of it in season 1 with that character. And I'm like, I do kind of wish we had some of that in this season. And then comes Worf.
Yeah.
And Worf is one bad mofo.
That's all you need.
And hands up to Michael Dorn.
Yes.
For being in
super
damn good shape.
You're welcome.
Yeah. He is better. You're welcome, young Dorn. You're welcome, young Dorn. Now old Dorn, because now old Dorn's young Dorn.
Listen, old Dorn looks better than young Dorn.
That dude looks better than me.
That's what I'm saying. Young Dorn looks better than old Dorn. Looks better than young Dorn.
That good when he was young Worf. Like he's so.
Oh my goodness!
Now. It's insane.
He looks.
He's in shape. He's like. Dude, he looks better than the character.
He's killing the character too. Like
whatever like aesthetics that were using on him back then.
When Riker couldn't pick up the sword. Sorry.
Yeah.
He
looks way better now, man. It's crazy.
It's fantastic. It's insane.
And they paired him up with Raffi. I think that was a smart move.
Yes.
Of course.
Raffi she needed help.
Oh, yeah.
She needed help.
All the quips, though, between Worf and Riker.
Oh, dude, those were awesome.
Is just the torture continuing?
Those were awesome. When he was like, telling about his wife. He was hitting on her.
That was awesome.
Oh, my God.
They were together at one point. That's what the joke was.
Is this the torture continuing?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. When he's like, well, make it a threesome. He's like, you hear yourself talking?
And that's funny because out of everyone, Riker could have been. He's the one that would have loved that joke.
Make those jokes.
Yeah, but
exactly.
When he saw Deanna, I mean, it was hilarious. It was like
every day did another moment not go by.
Inappropriate. That's what he said.
Now,
I do want to tell you something that did scare me. In season 2, right? That's when they actually did the time traveling.
Yes. And the 6 episodes that we did.
Let me tell you something about that. That scared me because all I was thinking was whales. And I was like, please don't let it be as bad.
They brought it up too in season 3. He goes, the whales. Jack brought it up.
I was like, please don't do this because time traveling with Star Trek.
Listen, there's a problem. There's the problem with season 2 is that the once they got back to our time, 2023, it didn't make sense. Picard would send them to look for whoever they needed to look for, and then Picard ended up going to look for it.
Doing it anyways.
Guinan, anyways. Yeah, it was Guinan that they were looking for, and like, what was the point? And they took 3 episodes to do that.
It was like 2 different directors, because it was Full Metal Jacket all over again, but in reverse.
Exactly.
It was in reverse. It was like shitty.
You had to watch the first to get to the
it was
really good
shitty ass director first.
And personally, original series actually did it a lot too, but you have to understand the reason original series did it. Yeah, Voyager did it, but original series did it a lot because, you know, the sets and things like that, it was a lot easier to see, you know, film a street during that current time.
Yeah.
You know, the sets, I mean, this history fact I probably mentioned before, people don't know this, the very first set for Star Trek, the original series, when it came to be, and you actually thank Lucille Ball from My Love Lucy, but she actually threw a bunch of money into Star Trek because Paramount
she saved it.
Yeah, they thought Star Trek was supposed to be like a Star Search.
Right.
And then when it was a space show, they're like, what did we purchase? And thanks to Desi Arnaz, who was the first person to use multiple camera angles and set up that studio, it was set up for a sci-fi series. Yeah. So it did help increase the next level after they did the Menagerie and the Cage and all that, when they brought in William Shatner after the passing of the actor who played Pike or whatever, and jumped the series to, you know, other words, which is what Strange New Worlds is doing. That's the series actually that Star Trek was originally supposed to be. It was supposed to be originally Captain Pike and the years of a younger Spock. And that's why they did what they did, because Vulcans age much slower and live longer lives, and they're able to do that. But you had that setup, so they did it a lot because technology wasn't available, so it was a lot easier to say they time traveled and then just use current sets,
right?
You know, to start to do episodes. But when Next Gen did it, the DS9 did it. When DS9 did it, and they would just go slightly like when they did the original series episode with the Tribbles. That was cool
though. That was cool.
But whenever they do current time Earth from them to the future, it's always like the worst episode. So once they jumped into our time, I'm like, this is going to be rough.
Yeah. It was scary.
Now it's story arc, so now I'm gonna have to get this for the whole season.
Yeah, it's scary.
For the whole season, so I was nervous too.
Well, what saved it was Picard's backstory.
La Migra. That's what I was. I'm like, come on, man. No, ain't no Migras happening still. Come on, dude.
Well, you know what?
Well,
you know what saved that season? You know what saved that season was Picard's backstory, though. The whole thing with the mom.
Dude, I'm telling you, that was
and the dad.
Moments.
That should have been there from the get-go.
It was
exactly.
Awesome. It was
that should have been from the get-go.
About Picard, about his history, his backstory,
understanding himself.
It's called Picard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's concentrate. That should have been from the get-go.
And that's
like just hints about that, and like going through the steps in the house, all that should have been. Awesome. Dude, and like I said, I don't know if you remember, I texted Edith Piaf music and a time setting, the time, like I'm in.
Like great.
I'm in.
Fantastic.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
It's genius. And it almost feels like moments from season 1, moments from season 2 were probably like the first 3 episodes of just one miniseries.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be Picard. And like, it almost feels like the writer's room, like, all right, is there any way we could stretch this story out and stretch this story out? Because if we just go straight into this, it's the only season we can make. Yeah. We're not topping this.
Yeah.
Gonna top.
I could see that happening. I could see that happening in the studio. I could see that happening in the studio. There's no way. Dude, it's almost like it's so good. Season 3 is so.
Season 3 was perfect, pretty much. I mean, there's little things that didn't make like fireworks in space. I'm like, fireworks in space was okay.
Explosions in space. Well, Guardians of the Galaxy did it too.
A little bit, Guardians of the Galaxy. That's different. That's
but like it's so.
Speaking of fireworks in space, that's. What was the second to last episode when they just start unloading on that captain, the admiral of the ship, and they're blasting like, dude, you just watched her die as the bombs turned off.
Oh, but that, you know who that is? That's Shelby.
So
that's Shelby from TNG. Where that's the lady that was trying to take Riker's position.
What? Yeah, that's right, dude. They brought back crazy.
Yeah.
The road thing was perfect.
Oh man, that was awesome.
Genius.
And I didn't expect it. Because that storyline was like.
Let me tell you now, I was joking about O'Brien because here's the thing, on DS9 O'Brien got popped.
Yeah.
But I was joking because on Next Generation he gets no pop, and there's no way they're gonna bring. So I would make between us making jokes about O'Brien coming back and them doing a thing with O'Brien. Whatever.
I really was hoping for him to come back though. By the end,
just for that, just like you know, it'd be funny if he does come back because
fixing the transporters or something.
That's funny. That's funny.
But I didn't even think about Ro. Like there were certain characters, and then after Ro, I'm like, all right, what crazy characters could they bring back now? Because they can literally bring back anything.
Well, hers was crazy because
she had like half a season.
She was half, and it worked out perfectly because she was handling Worf, right? Mm-hmm. That was she was his handler, and then Worf was handling Rafi, and everything just turned out. So when Worf sees Picard and Riker on the screen, he's like,
"Where's Ro?
What's going on here?" Like, you know, and it just tied in perfectly.
That was awesome.
And the fact that it was Ro,
7
moments. That's what it is. So moments.
And like he said, like the connections that they made, Tuvok with 7. You know what I mean?
Tuvok with 7,
Where realistically, same thing. But again, because time has passed, 7 did have some connection with Tuvok, but she was closer to Janeway and to Chakotay.
Yeah,
through everything. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty wild. And the hologram doctor, you know what I mean? Because he could relate to some extent her scenario, you know, being born with the Borg to a point where she can't move her the implants or whatever.
Yeah.
But, and they do like the whole thing with the captain refused to call her 7 of 9 and the crew did like clever things like that.
No, but like the relationships, I mean, the
relationship with that, so like
thing was great.
The Tuvok and her built up was smart. You know, all of that. And then in the Forge and his two daughters.
By the way, he acted the crap out of a lot of those scenes, man.
Yeah,
him and
he
Data,
was good.
man.
LeVar,
that Data uniting and then
through that back and forth that he had with himself.
Yeah, with Lore. I will tell you that was
genius.
That was awesome. That was such a damn good episode, and such a damn good moment and story, which you pretty felt with so many seasons and so many stories that they already did as much Data as they could do, and they managed to, as far as Data goes, 3 seasons in a row. You know what I mean? Make the Data thing happen, and man, he turns it on
good.
for Lore.
He's good.
And he's
the perfect actor. He's the best actor to play the same role for the last like if you got to get one guy to play the role that he's known for, like he could turn it on like in a second.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I mean, you know, I was a big Brent Spiner fan as a kid, especially, but in Gargoyles as Puck, and then you had Riker.
All of them were on it. All
as Xanatos.
Yeah, Xanatos.
Michael Dorn played a few parts of it. And Dorn, he's great also. His voiceover at work as well also is killer. Yeah. Killer. But yeah, these are all that's the other thing too. All these actors have a lot of range. This Next Generation actors.
They do.
They all have
Spider-Man,
a lot of range.
He's awesome as Data and every type of Data, and and when he came back,
all the different
Soons, like I hated Soon in 2024 or 2023. I hated him. He did.
You hate him all the time.
You hate him all the time. Even in the first season. Even in the first season.
They do that because they only want you to love Data. That's it. That's the only one they want you to love is Data.
Why he's human.
And before, right?
And he's human.
And that was dope too. The Data bringing back a Moriarty. That was the other one.
Yeah. He's the reason why he came back. Yeah. So that was another killer callback. The trailer misled you a little bit on what that scenario was going to be, but it was great.
And he was going to be more involved.
And there's a lot of callbacks to the first episode of
in
TNG.
That room. Talking about callback in that room. Why do they have Kirk's body? What is the plan for Kirk's body?
I'm telling you, they're going to deep fake him.
Picard. That is the plan.
That's Jack's
real father.
That's Jack's real father, and then they implanted.
I think they're going to deep fake him, bro. I honestly believe William Shatner will probably have a deal.
They could be setting up. What was that reality call that they went in through? That remember Kirk came out because that's how they got Kirk's body. Is because remember he died in Generations. When Picard brought him back out and he helped them, and then he died fighting that guy. So that's how they have Kirk's body. Obviously, they've had Kirk's body on ice a lot longer than they have Picard's body.
Yeah.
You know, but it is kind of weird that, you know, Starfleet goes around digging up captains' bodies. But, you know, like, I'm most likely that's just an Easter egg. It is kind of a weird Easter egg. It's like, you know,
well, at this point, you really don't know because they can use it anytime they want.
They can.
Yeah.
It all depends on the actor.
And
But,
with the new, AI is actually doing movies.
that's what I'm saying.
Anything is possible.
Well,
They could get an unknown actor and just deep fake,
yeah.
That does allow them to have a connection with the next generation era of Star Trek series and the original era of the new Star Trek series, like Discovery, Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
Because at some point they are going to introduce a Kirk in Strange New Worlds.
You have to,
and that actor is the person who could play Kirk in both these future episodes if they unfreeze them and the past.
Yeah, because they're not going to get 94-year-old William Shatner to do anything.
Chris Pine's not going to do it. He's
Listen,
not dumbing down. They recasted Spock, for these shows. So.
Picard was pushing it already.
I know.
Okay?
Let's awesome?
Be realistic.
You know what's awesome, though? We all predicted they were just going to kill him off. And he had a happy ending. They had a happy ending for him.
I went into that board ship on Jupiter, in the eye cloud.
On Jupiter, yeah.
I was like, people are going to die.
And I thought, man, there's sometimes
I thought many roller coasters of who was going to die. I was like, okay,
why keep him alive?
Picard's going to die.
Riker's going to die. Oh,
then I'm like, Picard and the son's going to die. Then I'm like, Worf's the only one who's going to live. I'm like, nah, they can't do that. That's a total slap in Riker's face. Yeah. So Riker's going to be the only one to live. And then I was like, nah, they're all dying.
That would be terrible.
And then they didn't say it, and I was like, okay, they didn't say it, because I already got worried when they said, if we shoot upon it, it'd be cataclysmic and it would all die. But they didn't say, like, oh, then we all die. I'm like, okay, so they're going to kill off the whole freaking cast.
Yeah, everybody.
But I get it, because that's like what we do now. And the fact that they didn't do it
is even better.
Yeah.
It's even better.
That they gave us the happy ending.
Happy ending.
Happy-ish, because post-credit. But still,
well, no, happy for Picard. Jack is screwed.
They gave us the scenario of like, oh man, and when they killed off Shaw, and Shaw, for me, it actually hurt.
And for the original cast, they had a happy ending, and it ended the same way as All Good Things ended with them playing cards. Yeah, it was great. It was
and he did Shakespeare again.
That
and they
was
went back
actually
to the David
great.
Joke. There once was a man, once was a woman from Venus.
It was, Dana, come on, man.
And then when you were talking about earlier with the therapist, like I saw a woman petting a cat, and I wept.
Yeah, first of all, she's
like, we're over our time. We're over our time already.
She's looking for vacation spots, and then Riker at the end is like, he's still batshit crazy.
This guy's friends. Hey, no, not only that, like this guy's literally learning to be a human. Literally trying to figure it out, and she's looking for vacation spots.
Your android friend for 30 years is trying to be a human, and you're like, oh, Orlando. First of all, out of all the world,
Orlando.
Orlando. Yeah.
Hotel.
That was funny because Jordy was like, "Oh yeah, it seems like a tough choice."
I'm, I have a choice between a really cool space or Orlando. Get out of here.
They brought back the ship.
They did bring back the ship.
You know, I don't know what my background is. If that's the new version of it or the original version.
No, that might be the original.
I don't know. I'm trying to look at myself.
Mine for sure is the original.
I'm not sure it's
look at the seats. Look at the seats. His seats are split in half.
The carpet, baby.
And the carpet is back. The carpet is back.
So
did you guys see the ready room, like the extra features, the one that I
saw the one where they talked about the redesigning of the set.
Oh man, it looks beautiful.
Yeah. I do want to know what Worf did to Enterprise E.
Oh
yeah, there's like I think there's
destroyed.
Apparently, there's a comic
book.
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it.
You know, this live action that.
This is the times that this
connection,
is what,
bro.
That is what pisses me off, though. This is the things that piss me off. Things like that.
Wait,
like,
so
there's a comic book in a store in the middle of the room in the corner that only like 3 fans have read, and that's what the connection we're gonna put on it. Stop it.
Yeah, because he's the one from First Contact that. Because it made it back, right?
It made it back, but at one point, Worf takes command of it because
he becomes captain of that.
Yeah, Picard is doing some other stuff, and something happens. And we don't know what happens.
And so they got back. D is the one they got back, which is the original because that's the one that the saucer separated and crashed.
Right, that's the one that got messed up.
Yeah, that's the one that got into.
And that's the one Geordi repaired.
Yeah,
and then
so was F the one? No, F was the one that they destroyed in Nemesis.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's F. I think it's
the one that got destroyed in Nemesis, and that's why this was G.
This is G, yeah.
In honor of, and it's the Titan, but they made it G, which Titan was the ship that Riker becomes
Was the
captain.
captain? Yeah.
Which I have the perfect necessity for this one. If you guys
Okay.
don't have
All right.
either something.
No.
We
The
haven't
Titan was
talked about it yet.
the Titan was cool though.
Let's be realistic. Out of us three right here, I'm gonna say that you are technically
Yeah, he's the Trekkie. He is the Trekkie out of the
three.
for sure.
You're
Yeah,
the
for
Trekkie
sure.
out of this.
Yeah,
out of
the
this
other day
group.
you brought up some DS9 knowledge, and I'm like, no.
Let's be
That's
realistic.
Because the Defiant was there. Okay, the Defiant had cloaking technology.
Yeah,
So when they stole, they retrofitted the Titan with the cloaking device from the bird of prey
Mhm.
that was from when they went to the whales.
Mhm.
But the Defiant they showed it was there.
they should have just taken it.
And it was a new version of the Defiant because remember Worf destroyed the Defiant in First Contact.
Yeah,
When that's why he ended up on board with them
Man,
with the whole
Worf
DS9
be
thing.
destroying a lot of
he's the worst.
things.
He's the worst.
Doing a lot of setups because now you have the changing still have a hate on for Starfleet, and they have that they've been made so they can fully mimic. So now you have they have to do.
Well, that's why they're more
transporter
like
tricks.
gooey instead of metallic. I remember them being more metallic.
And she may or may not be alive. The one that was after Jack, from the beginning with the one that Riker threw the meteor at.
Mhm. Dude,
Yeah,
that was
first one.
awesome.
That was right.
The way he swung.
Yeah, she's from a lot of stuff. She's
Yeah,
from
Wayne's from Pulp
swung-
Fiction in the beginning.
Pulp Fiction. There we go.
Honey Bunny. Yeah,
Yeah, Honey Bunny.
but
the way he swung that rock.
The asteroid at them. They
Dude.
full follow. It's like, you just throw a meteor at them. Is like, you bet your ass.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome. So I don't know why somebody will be watching us or listening to us without knowing anything about this season. But if they are,
Spoiler.
what do
Spoiler.
you consider? What would you consider for them for a new person to start Star Trek? What would you say? Hey, go watch this. Because I'm gonna tell you something. I cannot recommend Star Trek and tell people to go watch the originals. That's I can't do that. I watched them. I've watched them enough to know that they cannot see that and become fans of it.
Yeah, you can't start from there. You have to. I'll tell you, Star Trek: The Original Series is a great thing to jump into and binge if you go into which this is not an MSK because he does this a lot. If you're gonna watch like original Twilight Zone,
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to
if
say
you're
that.
gonna
Actually,
watch original Outer Limits,
Yeah.
Some Alfred Hitchcock type
some
things,
classic stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Because then you're gonna appreciate it for what it is,
what it was. Yeah,
and what it was.
Yep.
And the scary thing is when you start to dissect it and you make yourself a little bit of a history buff about it, and you see that Gene Roddenberry had to write a story and place that. I think it was 300 years later than he originally wanted the story to be.
Yeah.
Which is funny because everyone else makes the opposite mistake. Back to the Future, too soon.
Yeah.
Like everything is like, yeah, he would have been like 10 years ago. Marty McFly would be getting here right now. Like all the memes about this would be happening now. This would be
2015 hit. I was so mad. You don't understand.
He
We're
had
still
to
mad.
jump so far ahead when literally the only things that are still pretty far away are transporters and warp technology.
And space travel.
But that's what I'm saying. Transporters and warp,
It's
warp
getting
technology.
there.
But
Yeah.
space travel's getting there.
Yeah.
3D printing is the building blocks of replicators.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going to get into also.
Yeah.
3D printing is the building blocks of replicators.
Just
What
put
they
here.
doing?
This is Skype.
All the
is
space
Star
stations.
Trek.
Yeah, but exactly. That's the whole point. But the space stations right now, that's what they're using is 3D printers to do everything.
Yeah.
To make tools because they can retrofit and create it right there on the spot, which is what replicators do. Touch screen, all the things he had. Our phones are so much more technologically advanced than all the separate tricorders individually, with the exception of the medical ones. But it's and even then we have that. There's apps and there's devices for your mobile phones that will let you read your pulse, read your heart. Well, Michael, Yopi, was just saying with his watch there, he can read his pulse, his steps. If he needs
or just
to
the
breathe
diabetes
better.
reader that you
All
just
those
put
things.
here.
Diabetes readers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These are all things that he had to jump so far in the future for people to believe his story. Immediately, like within years, believe it or not, I think it was Publix was the first one in Tallahassee, in the Panhandle in Tallahassee, automatic open doors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like all these things, like no way it could happen or whatever, touch screen technology, all this stuff.
We take those
we
automatic.
that.
We take those automatic doors so for
granted.
granted nowadays.
Seriously.
Because I remember times where I had to open those doors, but like it's everywhere.
First of all, you're
everywhere,
old, and that's crazy.
No, but think of it.
I don't remember that at all.
Holodecks, we're almost there. We're almost there. Not just with holo.
No, I know, dude.
Virtual reality,
they've had
holograms
concerts.
and-
They've had concerts with holograms.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's insane how much of that technology we already have now.
Yeah.
And Gene Roddenberry had to so let's say we're, hundreds and hundreds of years in the future because no one's buying into this.
Yeah.
It's that simple. So even when you watch Next Generations, they had to really up the game with, with the photon torpedoes and up it more and, all these transitional tractor beams and all the different, wild, nerdy stuff they come up with. But there's a lot of science behind it. And it is so truly science fiction. And in just that one nod, and that's why you say my argument is that's why I personally always have. And when I was younger, that was a thing. You either like Star Wars or you like Star Trek. And that's basically saying to me, you like Lord of the Rings or you like Battlestar Galactica because it's fantasy. There's so much about it that's not worrying about the science fiction, with the exception of Andor. That's a series that goes more into that.
Well, that's a political spy drama.
Exactly. But they're less about the science fiction than they are the fantasy with the lore, with the and lightsabers. Yeah, they use technology as a base, but it is a lot more of the fantasy realm, the Flash Gordon concept. Right. Yeah. Where Star Trek is really big on the nerdy stuff, schematics and
real world nerdy stuff. Yeah,
I remember when I was in middle school, the model building for the Star Trek stuff, it gets so detailed and a lot of things, and there's so many books you could buy about the schematics of the Enterprise and how each thing works and how it is, and a lot of it is fiction.
You are loving the crap out of Star Trek.
He's loving this episode.
But the thing is that it has led to so much of our advancement in technology and space travel.
Video.
Yeah.
It's like nerdy.
Yeah. I said it. We're gonna get nerd out on this one.
It's
but
awesome.
That's what impressed me when I was, a young kid watching. I was like, dude, this is genius. And you hear so many people, and they do attribute Star Wars as well. I mean, remember the X, what is it, the Falcon, the X Falcon, whatever, the first one that SpaceX did. Musk was called the Falcon.
Did he? I didn't.
From Millennium Falcon. I'll say this back in this 20 years ago. The very first one that SpaceX did, they called it the Falcon. But that being said, it's it really has inspired people to create things from that show, to move it forward to actually have similar things. Yeah. Maybe this can happen. Yeah. So, and it reverses things, and it's made better filming, better technology for filming, and things like that. So it's wild, but that's the thing. So jumping on, you have to watch the original series and things like that for what they were. Yeah. They do have some good stories.
Just for the history of it, too. Just
exactly.
The Lucille Ball
thing. But I don't really recommend people to go watch those.
Yeah. If you already have an appreciation for timepieces like that, like Twilight Zone and Star Trek, it's different. And you can also appreciate you looking deeper into some of the episodes because you had certain writers for episodes at that time that were writing about other things that were going on. You got to remember, Star Trek, the original series, had the first interracial kiss on television.
Right.
They had, a lot of firsts because Gene Roddenberry was very revolutionary and acknowledging this is the direction we're going to head in one day. And they would write about that. So some things were right on the nose, and some things they would make excuses for. And we're saying it's an alien, and the aliens would represent the civil rights movement, and they would this is this, and it would represent that, and so it was you look at it as a timepiece for that too. There were episodes that were very well and intellectually written to symbolize things.
Of course, what was happening around them at that time
in real world. Yeah.
So, but for me, even Next Generation, it's hard to just jump into now because you're right in that early 90s, late 80s buffer where it's still a little bit of a kind of cheesy network television.
Yeah.
The first couple seasons. Once you get into the board, it takes off in a whole other direction.
Yeah.
Believe it or not,
it's Enterprise.
Believe it or not, Voyager might be a great place to start.
Voyager is actually a good. I was about to say it might be a good.
That would probably be the best place to start outside of the first J.J. Abrams original series movie.
Right.
Because if you jump straight into that, then you'll appreciate all of it. Where if you wait for that, you might be a hater. You know what I mean? You might watch it
you might not like it. Yeah.
But if you watch that, if you've never seen anything, I believe it was Yopi's wife that she had never really watched Star Trek anything, but loved the first JJ movie.
Yeah.
Because that opening scene alone, that first 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's
perfect.
That's great, right?
Is what that was. I was gonna say Voyager would be a good. My wife actually saw Voyager she saw it when it originally aired, and then she rewatched it during the pandemic. And I think that one is a good, solid Star Trek for Trekkies specifically. Like if it's like a Trekkie recommending it to someone that's never seen just Star Trek, start there because you really don't have to know anything from Next Gen or the original, and the technology doesn't look as cheesy. You get me? Like, it's already turning around.
Yeah, it's right at the right time. It's right at the right time.
Yeah,
television was the effects and everything were better.
We're getting better,
and the style of network television storytelling was better.
That was like what, like 90s to early
late
2000s?
90s, exactly. Late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah,
because I remember, I think like 2003 around there is when they had the Rock episode. With 7 of 9, where she did a smackdown on the Rock. And that was when the Rock was huge.
You should come back to Star Trek.
You should just do a cameo and 7 or 9 later.
Ruin that franchise too.
Oh man,
that's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's killer. And I would go with Voyager also. DS9 is great, but DS9 is a really good follow to Next Generation.
Yeah.
It is what that story does, but it tells us
so Voyager. I would then recommend Voyager.
Yeah.
Is that the Nerd Necessity, or you have another?
He's got another one. He's got another one.
Okay.
I'm just curious because personally, like, again, like, I honestly feel that most people that I talk to are more Star Wars people, but Star Trek has always, like, for me, I've always enjoyed Star Trek in my own way. I love both of them. I love both sides of this whatever war you guys want, like, people talk about, but I honestly don't care because I really enjoy both the same way. I can sit and watch Star Trek and feel happy and enjoy it as much as I can sit and watch a Star Wars anything that I actually enjoy about them. So,
well, the thing with Star Trek is it's always around. It's always Star Wars had a like from 83 to 99. You don't have anything.
Break.
Yeah,
and there's another break from 2005 to 2015.
But
Star Trek always has something.
And what's crazy about that is you have the reasons for it. Remember the whole George Lucas with the contract and the toy.
Right.
Yeah.
Is literally an intentional break in between. Where Star Trek was already, Gene Roddenberry passed, so it was already out of his hands overall from the family, and with a network that's like, we're going to beat this dead horse in many ways we have to make it work. And they had a lot of happy accidents, but Next Gen definitely shot them up because the original series movies were
well, I don't want to talk about those because
I know some good ones, but the thing is, and that's why I just got to compare it, because that's what I said. I go, the Next Gen did elderly better. Like, it was hard for me to believe that cast, and the way they would write it, it's like, dude, overweight old Shatner fighting and beating people down, and like, come on.
Wrath of Khan was good.
Wrath of Khan was good. And the storylines for
Search for Spock
was well
good.
done.
Yeah, that was good.
Undiscovered Country is actually really good.
Yeah,
but it has a lot of those issues. It has a lot of, they're trying to keep Kirk as a badass.
Yeah. Well,
like,
that's the problem. Once it got to Undiscovered, these guys were already like past their second prime or whatever. Prime.
There's a lot of excellent dialogue in Star Trek, and that's why for me, I just felt that I liked the JJ reboots because he did some very clever things with the Spock character and the Kirk character, and put them in scenarios and situations.
And the Khan character.
Yeah, exactly. And we couldn't get those. We didn't get a version of that until they were already elderly actors in the movies. And now he's like, well, I'll give it to you with them young. You know what I mean? So that's why that Khan fight between a young Spock and a young Khan, awesome, as opposed to an old Khan and an old, old Kirk. And like the Christopher Lloyd, which is the Search for Spock. That same thing. Like, I have had enough of you. It's like, dude, that Klingon would have mopped the floor with him. Like, come on. Like,
those movies.
He's like, you love it because it's Kirk, but then it's like, it's not Star Trek. It's the lore of Kirk. You know what I mean? That's what it is.
Those movies were 10 years too late. That's the problem. Yeah, it was really
what it is. They had too much. They had their gap. They really did. They had their gap. They did the movies. Next Gen had a decent run with the movies, but I personally feel that this third season
that was
Picard
the gap.
is genius. It was such a
Picard was amazing. Picard was amazing. I'm
gonna watch it again.
Great acting. I mean, I saw the episodes like 3 times already. The great acting from everyone.
Fantastic.
LeVar Burton, man. Some of those, like, it's crazy how much emotion you could once he takes the visor off. Like,
yes,
I mean,
it's another
way of acting, man. It's great.
But that's the exciting thing. That post credit, we had to talk about it. Is Jack Kirk, basically.
Jack. Yeah,
Picard.
Now that's like, we got to get the spinoff. We got to get the spinoff. Now Q is bringing it to him. It's a younger Q. That's what I love about it. And he tells him right out the gate, he goes, "You're supposed to be dead."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Humans think so linear."
Yeah.
And it's
it's
like,
great.
that's
It's
a
awesome.
past Q.
It's awesome.
That's a Q before he died.
That could have been the Q from the ending of the first Next Gen series.
Yeah, that's
So
what I'm saying.
good.
They
So
play with
good.
it so well. They could be any, multiple versions of Q. And now Jack's going to have to deal with that. With Seven as captain, Raffi as first officer, with a band of riffraff.
Yeah,
the Enterprise.
Guys.
The Enterprise.
Guys, it's 2023.
I know.
Picard season 3. It's not supposed to be this good.
It's good.
It's not.
No.
It's like
What just happened?
84-year-olds.
So damn good.
Patrick Stewart
What
is not supposed to
happened?
carry. It's not
That's how
supposed
old
to carry
he
a
is,
shirt.
84?
He's 84. Yeah, because Picard is
Wow.
94. And so
That's wow.
Patrick Stewart is 84.
What
Yeah.
happened there?
That's wow.
How is this so good?
They went all in. And
it's great.
honestly, I knew they were going to have a lot of bringbacks. I wasn't sure. They did the trailers just right because I really thought it was going to be a lot of like cameo moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they started out with him and Riker together again, Captain First Officer, full on brought Worf, full on brought LaForge, full on brought Data, full on brought Troy.
And all of them
full on
had
brought
something
Crusher.
to do. It's not
Yeah.
like they were just there.
They
Like,
just
Everything they
Like,
did. It was just
yeah.
fantastic.
yeah. Even
So
Beverly like shooting the torpedoes, and
Yeah,
they're
a lot has happened in 20 years.
like, wait a minute. You
She
don't.
shot everything
moments.
down. Data, here goes nothing. What do you mean, here goes nothing?
Yeah, I feel it in my gut.
You're what?
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 It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's,
Amazing.
It's genius.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Amazing.
love everything.
And when he goes,
about
"I
it.
hope we die fast," that was hilarious. You gotta be more positive. I hope we die
all the
fast.
jokes are spot on, and
It's great.
They definitely got to spin this. I mean, we know they're going to somewhat, and we'll see what the cast is for Starfleet Academy. But I hope Starfleet Academy is the building blocks for the spinoff that will be whatever they call it, the Next Generation.
Well, Starfleet Academy is going to be
again.
them trying to get younger people to watch it. That's
and I'm
what it
okay
is.
with that. And I'm
What
okay
they
with
might
that.
do is build up a younger character over 2 or 3 seasons that's going to join the Enterprise.
The Enterprise, which
and then
will
we'll
be
have that series.
which will
you
be
know?
cool. And I'm okay with that because I feel this is the time for Star Trek to pick up that steam and get back to real good writing and real like enough for those old heads, which is why they killed a lot of them off. Like as far as like not the main ones, but let's get this going. Let's go. I'm ready now.
Yeah.
Like Picard season 3 has gotten me ready for television. Regular old television of Star Trek. That's crazy.
Well, the
I
next
cannot
series has to
believe
be. I feel like it has to be episodic. I want the. In Strange New Worlds, it's like that, right? It's episodic.
And that's what I feel that's what this will be. I feel that is the arc to build towards something more episodic.
Yeah.
I feel that they'll probably start already doing that with Starfleet Academy. So therefore, you don't know what characters will lead to the future. You know what I mean? And who they'll bring, because I mean, crazy Easter eggs like he voiced it Chekhov as the president. The son of Chekhov, and they named him after the actor that unfortunately passed away.
Yeah. Anton Yelchin.
Things like that, so they'll have some legacies in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They might have a Kirk. I mean, a Kirk or what was Bones?
McCoy,
or that Scotty had children. So I mean, there's a lot of avenues they can go with that. From that, and then from Next Generation, they can have the Lieutenant Yar connection, because remember she went back 100 years, and then she had offspring.
A daughter. Yeah, she had a daughter,
and they're part Vulcan or whatever. That one was going to be the Romulan.
There was there was a hologram of her too. There was another Easter egg.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, when Data's handing it to Lore.
I'm sure there's a comic book in some store in the middle of the corner about something.
Tie-in, bro. You gotta tie in everything.
But yeah, no, it's genius. So I'm looking forward to it. And going from Starfleet Academy, that's my nerdcessity, and I'll make it short, but you just gotta watch it. If you are a Star Trek fan, because you won't get all the jokes if you're not a Star Trek fan and know a little bit about everything, is the animated series on Paramount Plus, which is Lower Decks. And I've talked about it before, but it is hilarious. And it's during the era where Riker's the captain of the Titan. So it's not his ship, but I just know it's that era because there are some episodes where he's the Titan and Riker are there. And Jonathan Frakes, does the voice of Riker in it. But it's just hilarious because the base premise of the series is it's the underling riffraff who's working their way up. So it's all the ensigns, but they're on a ship that does second contact, not first.
Yeah, that's funny.
And the whole concept of how trashy second contact is, because first contact's like, oh, it's beautiful. You're meeting them from the first time. It's yay, shaking hands. Second contact's taking inventory. Second contact's getting diseases. Second contact's because they've never been there before. Yeah. So they're learning this whole thing. Second contact's building stuff and trading with stuff.
That sounds like Family Guy. That's what it sounds like.
It's so Rick and Morty without it being so vulgar. It's you can watch it with kids.
That sounds amazing.
It is hilarious. And they make jokes of like certain things. Like there's so many callbacks to like, making fun of itself. It's making fun of Star Trek, but it's somewhat canon. And they do things like there's a whole episode with DS9 where they're talking about like just keep going around in circles over and over again until you find a place to dock. So the wormhole keeps opening up.
That's
it is
funny.
So hilarious.
Lord.
They have so many little jokes like that, and she'll bring up because one of the main characters is like a big history buff. For a reason, because she brings up things about Kirk or whatever, and they'll have the argument, who's better, Kirk or Picard? Like they'll have these arguments, like
awesome.
If this is the real world, and like you kidding me? When Kirk did this and this, and like they'll have these like captain
that's
arguments.
Amazing.
It's fantastic.
Name it again.
Lower decks. And like one of my favorite things they'll do is like remember, I can't remember the name of the race, but remember the episode of the race that talks that the way they speak is all in metaphor. That they would all talk like remember it was I forgot what it is, like Kodak walks in the ocean with flowers or whatever, and that means that like I don't feel well right now or whatever. Yeah. They have a character that is because now it's right after Next Generation, before Picard. So all these species and races that were introduced in Next Generation are now members of Starfleet.
That's awesome.
So you have these characters in Starfleet, like, what? This character don't belong here. Like, and it's so funny because they have to work with that character, and it's like you would see how difficult that is now to actually have them as part of the crew.
Yeah.
So no, it's wow, man, it's genius. It's a fun time. So it's a complete deviation as far as the seriousness and drama.
Where's
and all that.
This showing in Paramount?
Paramount Plus, yeah.
Paramount Plus, yeah.
Lower Decks. I think they're 2 seasons already so far. And doing more.
I gotta hand it to Paramount Plus because I joined the.
They got all in on Star Trek.
It's all
in on Star Trek.
Listen, they caught me with Top Gun for $4.
They did.
And then I see all these Star Trek stuff. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Hey. And they kept me with Picard.
And they're still here, and you're still here,
and I'm still here. And
I still watch that Godfather series.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do want to see that.
It's good. It's good.
What's it called?
The Offer.
The Offer.
It's the making of the Godfathers. It's pretty good.
That looks good.
With Miles Teller.
This has been
okay. So here's my other question: when is this gonna air? Next week? The week after? Next month? Next year?
4th.
Listen, there hasn't been a lot of mistakes on this, so maybe sooner than you think.
May the 4th be with you.
Yeah,
May the
4th be with you.
Listen, just stop being insulting. Okay, that's
people,
not.
How is that insulting?
That's insulting.
Insulting to who?
May the 4th be with you.
To whom?
Said by Starbucks.
To whom?
May the 4th be with you. Said by Starbucks.
Honestly, I feel like people that
Starbucks. She is in the series.
I feel like people have this war about this. What's better? It's so ridiculous.
Well, you know what?
Honestly speaking, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, you know what's great is that I think there's so much content for both of them now that the next generation, the next generation of people watching this stuff, they're not gonna care. They're gonna watch both of them. They're gonna love both of them.
I hope so because they both are as good as the writers can make them. That's all it is. Well, that's all it comes down to.
I'm gonna tell you now. A good way to end this is the way Picard ended, which is
I don't know Shakespeare. Oh,
let's actually do it. No. What we never heard. Actually, MSK called me in the middle of. Guess what moment I interrupted
I had to get watching. I had to get
Guess what? MSK got me good. MSK got me really good.
I need to hear this.
He interrupted me.
It's great. I finished I watched the finale before he did.
He interrupted right at the moment when Seven was about to say her very first engage, make it so whatever.
Yeah.
So when he called me, I was like, I hung up whatever. I thought I missed it.
Oh no.
So I had to rewind and it was that they ended on not saying what it was. But I thought that she said it. I missed it. And I was like,
Nice. Nice.
Because you called me when Riker threw
Did you say?
when Riker threw the asteroid into the ship.
That's when I called him.
That's when he called me. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you calling me? I'm watching start. I'm watching.
You got him.
Picard.
You got him back.
What do you think she said? What do you think? What would work for 7 of 9? I can't even say.
I know exactly what she'll say. Dolly.
No. No, she would say resistance is futile.
Resistance is futile.
Resistance is futile. Go.
She's gonna say engage. No, I mean honestly, like, what more?
Yeah, she's making it up as we speak. The actress right now.
What did Kirk say? I don't remember what Kirk would say. Warp factor 9. I mean, just like,
I don't think Kirk was ever in the bridge long enough to say anything.
I tell you what.
Kirk always had a hangover. He said different things.
I tell you for real. A Hispanic would definitely be saying things like, or more like,
Cuban. Cuban.
Vamos.
Dale. Métele clutch. Dale.
Eche gasolina.
Oye, dale, hacer. Cógelo.
Vamos, ya.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know what she's probably trying to come up with it.
You think this would be a nice little thing to put on Twitter or whatever, whatever we
I can't think either.
What's up?
Yo, Peters. I would say Peters.
That's what you would say. That's what you would say.
I would say Peters, and then people will go.
Where you going?
People will go.
That's what you see when you get teleported out. Yeah. That's what we do. Okay, can you edit that? Can you make us teleport out as we say?
Oh, that would be cool.
Stop it. That's the first video. I'm not gonna.
Can you O'Brien
that you were gonna edit
swipe?
No one said anything.
Can you swipe a thing? Can you swipe
you were
a thing?
Gonna have our guests here next to us talking.
Listen, you get Grogu in the background somewhere. Wrong franchise or whatever.
He came out again?
No, he didn't.
No, your whole set came out.
Your whole set.
The whole green screen.
The lights fall down.
As soon as you got up, that whole thing showed like completely.
The boom operator is like.
There was a guy back there. Going, cut. He's putting everything back together.
Was like, nope.
There was a janitor passing by, in the background.
Dude, Engages is so perfect. Over and out. I gotta see. I don't know what they say in the other one's Discovery. I don't remember. Engages is so.
You know why you don't remember?
She said you don't remember
because you're on the Picard high right now.
You're on such a Picard. I mean, I'm on a Picard high still.
That's why you don't remember the rest.
Throttle.
Yeah.
Throttle.
So
family.
What would you recommend?
Family.
Set a course for Saturn. Family.
Fast and the Furious.
Go fast and the
Hey, get ready, because once that's really done, completely, no more movies for Fast and Furious. They're gonna do a series.
Oh yeah,
they have an animated one on Netflix that I have no interest in.
Honestly, the unfortunate thing is that I think they will continue with their kids. They will continue with kids and their kids and their. Honestly, that's what it's. That is
like the real life kids.
Family.
Oh, there you go. They'll have Fast and Furious, the next generation.
Family. Because
they'll be in space because they already did it. They set it up. Oh my god, it is. That's it. It's gonna be a crossover.
Why are we talking about that? Can you edit this out?
No,
can this one be edited out?
It's done.
Toretto,
yes, this is gonna be edited out.
Captain Toretto on the USS.
All right, guys.
Family.
That's a wrap.
The USS Family.
We're ending the Star Trek.
USSF.
USS Family. All right, so Picard, man, great.
Picard season 3.
On our way of teleporting out.
To Star Wars now.
This is Omega transporting, saying peace.
I know why you're doing that. I'm not going to do any of that. All right, peace out.
Peters.
And there you have it, folks. This has been Fanatically Correct. Until next time, you crazy kids. Signing off.
At one point, you went off on your nerd trip.
Brother. I was like, is he gonna stop?